There we go. Okay. All right, so I'm live. Let's see what happened here. All right, so as we progress with this, I want to talk about the lead leg and the importance of the leg and how pushing off the left leg, or for right-hand golfer, lead leg, is something that is natural for so many people when they throw a ball. Okay, it's also injury prevention wise. All right, so you guys leave a comment, like, subscribe. Also, when you see this, leave a comment. Let me know that you can hear me, because I've got my iPad turned off. Ask any questions you want. This is now pertaining to the lead leg motion. Okay, so as discussed, when you make a lead leg motion at the top of your golf swing, your weight is really on this leg. This knee is on top of the foot, and the right leg is straight. So watch yourself in the mirror, and it doesn't go outside it. It doesn't go inside it, right? It literally is right on top, because then this leg will push you as you are now throwing. See, the ground, it doesn't care for your time and who you are, okay? So in a lead leg motion, you have to push a little bit to that left leg or that lead leg right off the bat. When you do that, can you see that little bitty, this is all this is, okay? This is all I'm doing. Now, this little bit right here, I'm pushing like down about that angle, and it's pushing me back to the right. When that happens, the right leg, then, because it's slightly angled in on a lead leg throw, it sets the brace for the right leg to now push you back left. So those happen instinctively. If you push so hard that your head moves off the ball, now you can't get back to your left leg. You're going to have to make some kind of movement pattern. So just this little bitty bounce pushes me back right. So there's two shifts before the club moves away, and all it is that little left goes right, boom, just like that little bit right there. So once that happens, now the right leg is pushing you back left. So the ground doesn't care, and it doesn't wait for you to think about, oh, let me finish my backswing. Whatever force that you put into the ground this way will put immediately pressure here. Now, if you do this and you hold on and you just sink into it, then it's like a box jump that you did this, and there's no force. Okay, so because there's force before motion, I want you to do a little bounce down, just like that. Not that much. It's really, really small. Okay, it's not overdoing it. Right? It's not opening the pelvis. It's not moving the shoulder or the arm. It's literally just pushing a little bit of pressure left to go right. When that happens, then you wind your hand up. That's what instinctively happens when you throw a ball. Okay? When you instinctively throw a ball, you don't just rock back on your right. Okay? Your pressure literally pushes you from left to right, and as the arm goes back, your pressure is going back left. Can you see how my right is pushing me left while my arm is going back? That's all there is. Now, a lot of people will get this, and it's not for everybody, right? Probably 20-25% of the golfing world will get this and feel this. Many people have been told their whole life to turn the body and to take everything back together, and then that works for some, because then they can create a force on the way down and then through, and that works for some. The average person, if they've learned to throw a ball, this will feel natural to them, and they'll go back to their childhood days, and they'll be like, oh, well, this feels good, and this feels easy. And so that's what this lesson is for. Also, if you have a tendency to have back pain, I do, okay? I try to move my spine as much as possible. I'm swinging a golf club all day. I'm doing countless Zooms, countless videos, countless playing golf now with people. Like, it's, my spine is, you're only as old as your spine, okay? So first of all, can you guys hear me? Let's see. Hey guys, how you doing? Hey, good. Hi. Just leave a question if you have any questions, okay? So I've noticed now in the compound pivot. Now listen, I'm fully transparent. In the compound pivot where I shift all the way right and then load, I am really stretching this fascial line of the QL, the lat, and the oblique meet right here, and you are literally lengthening all of this. You're shortening this. You're pulling on this. It's like literally taking fabric of a sheet and just pulling it and stretching it apart. And so when I do that, then it immediately just rebats through. Now, by the way, the compound pivot, the walking motion, Mike Austin, it's also now, I can't remember the guy's name in Colorado, the GOAT code. All right. I've looked at some of that, and that really is fascial slings, however you want to say it. You know, all of these things can happen if you have the flexibility and if you have the fascial lines to do it. Well, what happens to the golfers that don't? Okay. Well, there's an evolution that happened, say, with Tiger Woods, for instance. Now, he worked with a guy, John Andriazzani, who had worked with Mike Austin and had worked on he had more of Tiger Woods. Yes, Tiger Woods, the Tiger Woods had in 96, 96, 94, 5, 6, had a walking motion. His spine was kind of bent a little bit, and he had a very big fascial sling. Fast forward, he worked with Butch Harmon. He had an evolution in his next golf swing. His next golf swing was more of like and when he won in 2000, so I never will discredit it, obviously, won 4 majors, it was the bucket motion, right? And so when you take the arms and body to the side and the knee is flexed, you have to then recenter. Again, I'm stretching these fascial muscles in ways that as an athlete can either have moved before, which is great, and then do that. Or if it's tight, then guess what's going to happen if this muscle is tight and you try to go over to the side? Your brain and your body is going to go, hey, I don't really like that. And I'm going to twist my spine, and I'm now going to be off plane, okay, and out of balance, right? And it doesn't work for you. So then fast forward, now Tiger is centered to lead leg because of his right leg. He can't push off of it. So he just puts pressure on the inside of it. So he's not fascial slinging, okay? And you can say whatever you want, but he literally is having pressure on this left knee and leg, and you'll see a little bitty bounce that he does before he takes it away. He takes it away. His hands swing the golf club over his shoulder. His weight is here at the top of his golf swing. Go back and look at all of his videos right now. His knee is here, his leg is straight. That's where Ben Hogan was. That's where Mo Norman was. And that's where Tiger Woods is. And they're considered some of the best ball strikers that's ever lived. So from right here, the left leg now pushes you away and you throw. So why is that so good? Well, because if I do this motion, my fascials are not having to be this big stretching, slinging, and I can still create very good power from the vertical force of the left leg pushing against you while your right arm is throwing. And it's very easy to do for a lot of people, okay? So, and I'm in the process of writing a book about this and about how this is going to be much easier for people that are older as well. And you could also still throw it very, very far. It's not like this is designed just for people that just have mobility issues. But this is one of the ways that I feel like, for me, that's what I was going to say as I kind of lost track there, is as I swing back and I do all this and I stretch and all that, and I can hit it really far, but then the next day, man, I hurt, right? It's like my body's like, oh, it doesn't want to move, and I got to go see my chiropractor and all that jazz, and you can't live that way, right? So for me, it's very easy on my body to have the lead leg motion. I don't know if you can kind of see it or not, but can you see how at the top here, I'm not really stretched or strained at all. And I've now wound up my hand and my arm, and now I can push and throw. Okay. So, all right, ask me some questions if you want, because this is an interesting topic about how the golf club can be loaded by either fascial movements to the right or a stretch reflex, sort of speak, as you wind up and throw. How you doing, guys? How you doing, guys? I know I kind of popped in here about an hour or so before football because, man, yesterday's games were pretty good. If you're a Buffalo Bill fan, maybe not so much, but it was good entertainment to watch. So, let me know if you guys can hear me well, and if you have any questions on anything that I'm talking about. I mean, I've made over now 400 videos. I'm like I said, I'm here for you guys, doing this for about an hour. And like I said, I'm in the process of writing a book and also talking about this, and then also making a video series just on this particular movement pattern that I think is very easy for a lot of people. Okay, and the reason why I feel like it is because you've already had this movement. You've already had it where, hey, if I wind up and throw a ball, well, if I only throw a ball very little bit, it's only going to be like this, right? I'm not even going to, I don't have to have all the leg stuff. And then if you want to, then you start putting the pressure into the leg, and you can clearly see that little bounce left that pushes me back right, that pushes me back left, while the golf club is going away. And so, which brings up another point. I think so many people turn, and they just turn, see? And they think that is what I'm trying to get you to do. I wish people would take away turn. And the next video is going to be where I talk about it. Is I feel like that if just stop turning, because so many people think that you have to load this big. You don't have to do that. It's when I'm doing this pressure shift from left to right, my navel is moving like 1 inch this way, 2, 3. I mean, look at and you can see how my knees are moving, and I'll do it this way. So whatever you do one way, you do the opposite. See, so if I push the ground this way and my right leg straightens, then this leg will have to go like out towards the ball and that way. Now that's not a shearing factor, right? Like that's how whatever this right side of your pelvis does, the left side's going to do the equal and opposite. So to hit the golf ball, when the left leg pushes me, when I'm up here at the top of the golf swing and the left leg pushes down, you'll see that the right leg then goes out like so, and that's extension, right? You have to have extension in the golf swing. So you don't just stay down here and move these things together. Like I hate it when people put a belt loop thing in here and then try to turn the body together like this. Like it doesn't work that way. See, so when I shift over and I make that little shift, look at, like, that's not a very big turn. See, when I push the ground left, right, back, left, see where I'm at? See, that is very, very easy for a lot of people to do. All right, so ask some questions. Chris, it's okay, buddy. You can ask any question you want. There's not anything that nobody has to retract statements or anything of that nature. If we're all open-minded here, right? It doesn't mean that you can't load to everything together up here and be up here and then figure out a way to then push the ground while the golf club is still going back. As long as you're getting that stretch reflex, like for instance, the juju swing, which I think is fascinating, right? It's like or the Matthew Wolf kind of motion, right? Same kind of deal. Is all they're doing is taking the golf club further back. See, so my hands haven't hinged or anything, right? And so at some point, this hand still has to make a throwing motion, see? So even if I'm up here, because by the way, the golf swing in any motion is still a throwing motion. Understand that. It's still a throwing motion. You're still taking something that's an object. Basically, if you took a ball and you taped it to the face, and you said, so tape a ball to the face and feel like that you're going to sling it out. Would you sling it out like this? Would that go very far? Would this go very far? Right? Or would that go very far? Obviously, right? Then I'm slinging the ball off the face. So to do that, it does not matter. Now, the easiest way on the body is to have equal and opposite forces. So that's why I keep talking about this. So when I put the pressure from my left, it immediately bounces me back right. The golf club is slung back or moved back by the hands over the shoulder in a throwing motion. My weight is left, and then from here, then it goes there. Now, once I push, I'm not just passively turning through the ball. That's not what I'm doing at all. Once this thing is here, I'm taking my whole arm and throwing it underhand to the target, to the trajectory I want the ball to go. All right. So, ask any questions you want. I know, again, I don't, it only tells people like 15 minutes or so before you're live and all of that. So, again, this is all things that's going to be pre-recorded for people when they go and check out, that. But like any questions on, like my last video was the grip, where I talked about hands. I've talked about how the golf club swings over the shoulder, right? So the only way to get the golf club, if I'm like right here, okay, watch this. Watch my hand. See, there's my hand moving. Now that golf club has gone 90 degrees, okay? As my hand continues to go back, that's the only way to get the golf club over the shoulder, see? So if you have to, at some point, I don't care, even the juju thing. Now watch this, okay? So even if I take my arm back, 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 see? It's still not over my shoulder. So at some point, I now have to make my hand go over my shoulder at some point. So for me, it's just easier when that hand is moving the whole thing over here. So you see now. So once you get your hand, so if you put the golf club here and said, I want to put this over my shoulder this way, you can't do it with your elbow. Can't get there. You can't do it with your arm at all, okay? And your hand is the only thing that moves it back over the shoulder. So the hand constantly moves. So see, the hand doesn't stop moving. Now, the only way to get this arm to this target, you guys can see this, is I'm going to go for 3D angle. Watch this, my arm. Arm, arm, arm. So this is my arm, okay? Arm, see? Now, because of the arm moving, that made the forearm here respond, and that makes the hand respond and extend out. So you can figure all you want. When I'm talking about ground pressures and lead leg, I'm doing this. This is all this is doing. And this golf club really won't move. See, it really doesn't move. See, I'm doing perfect ground pressure here. I'm pushing the ground hard, hard right, hard left, hard right, hard left, hard right, hard left. Okay, that was, I don't say perfect, but that's pretty good lead leg motion. Okay, golf club didn't move. Golf club doesn't move by ground pressure. Let that one sink in for a second. Okay, golf club doesn't move by ground pressure. Okay, I'm moving the ground, and then once I do this, now my hand is moving the golf club back over the shoulder. Your hand moves the club. Otherwise, you might as well just stick your hands in your pocket. See, this is the part. There's not one person on the planet that could tell me otherwise if they stand here and have a kinesiology discussion with me. Okay, so I can put this in the golf club right here, and I'm going to move this joint up here. Okay, well that shoulder doesn't. Well, that shoulder just does this. It doesn't move. Okay, now my feet move. Now my feet are moving. Okay, golf club's still not moving. Okay, so the only thing that moves this golf club is my hand. My hand on the backswing. Now it's not my hand on the downswing. See, that's my hand on the downswing. It's not my hand. It's not my forearm. It's my arm. See, and my hand responds. So therefore, the further you want to hit a golf ball, the faster this arm goes to the target. Not the faster the body. See? Body doesn't do anything. Feet don't do anything. This arm right here is responsible for the golf club going that way. Let's see. Hey, what's up, Maverick? I appreciate you. I got quiet people in here right now. They're trying to take it all in, okay? But you've been with me for a long time, so I'm curious on your questions. All right, I realized on the takeaway my right hand would bow my right wrist and it would go inside and laid off. I'm working keeping the left more cupped and the quarter roll feels more horizontal. Yep, yes, 1,000%. So once you have the correct grip, grab your arm and just move the wrist bone. This is how you can practice this and feel this. And I do this every single time before I hit a golf ball. Okay, again, if I'm thinking about it, right, is that I will make this and it goes right on my toe line. Then when I release it, you can clearly see how that's released right here, and it's here on my what? Toe line. See, so from here to here. Now that's my hand and my hand just moving in a pure pendulum circle. So once you get that feeling there, by the way, now watch this. I'm going to still hold this arm, so I hope you guys can see this angle. See, the shaft is parallel. Shaft is parallel. Now all I'm going to do is lower down. Watch. I just bent my spine over. See, so in a circular golf swing, like so, and a double pendulum manner, the golf swing is symmetrical on both sides. See? So once you get this down, then the right hand will make the correct right hand hinging backwards. So the right hand hinges backwards, and the left hand makes a quarter roll. So I'll do this one time, like that. Then I'll put my right hand on the grip, and then I'll make that same motion, and does it feel impeded or not? See? So watch. 1, 2. Now I know I'm in the right spot. So once I put the club down here, now all I got to do is just push the ground a fraction to the left, which then pushes me a fraction to the right. My hand winds up. You can see it's over my shoulder. And then my arm goes to the target. And then my arm goes to the target, whatever speed and trajectory I want it to go. And that's as simple as a golf swing could ever be. What I just described is, and it's really not as complicated as you see. See, so that golf club's on plane, what I just did, and my arm goes down the target line. Now you can see how my arm also went up, right? So I can do the exact same thing here, here. Now I can wind up, and then I just throw my arm lower if I want to, and you can see where would the ball go? Would go there. Now, when I do this motion, if you notice, when I'm coming through, and I'll go here to see it, watch my left leg. I'll push. I'll wind up to throw. Okay, I'm going to go slow now. Here goes my arm. And you'll see my left leg now pushing me up as my arm is going to the target. But I'm not trying to extend and push my left leg. The ground is automatically doing it while my arm is extending. So at impact right here, my shaft, my hand, my arm is in line. My hand is still hinged here. My elbow's still out in front, but not in front of me, just to the side. And then from right there, as I go through, you can see that my left leg is still slightly bent, and then it starts to straighten as my arm extends. You'll see how my left pelvis kind of goes back behind me, and my knee is kicked out towards the ball, not laterally down the line. Whew, I covered too much crap, didn't I? Okay. So, here we go. It even feels a little more cupped to me as opposed to bow through impact and club passing through. And it's not hitting it fat. It's great. Yep. Yeah, so the wrist by centrifugal force will come back in line with the hand. Okay, so I wound up. Okay, I'm throwing. Here's my weight left, and I'm throwing. I'm going to slow here. See, the club face feels like it's wide open right here, but because of the wrist now and the arm extending, again, all I'm doing is doing this with my arm. Okay, I'm not thinking about what this left hand does because my left grip's correct. So once my right hand and arm, that's the governor in speed. Okay, so the right hand and arm goes, it's in line right here. Now, that is not, ready? That is not bowed. See? Does that make sense? So once I'm here, that's not bowed like that. That's when you have to do it because you've gripped the club weakened correctly. the wrist bone bowed, you're here, and now you've got to keep that angle as you come through to square the club face up. Doesn't mean you can't do it. You just got to be ungodly strong to do it. See, because once this wrist bone is here, this is flat, that's raised up, right, cupped, right? When we could say, you could say radial flexion and ulnar deviation, right? Don't give a shit, but literally it's just neutral right here. So once it's neutral here, that makes it very easy now for the left wrist to go into extension here on this side and match. If that was a left-handed backswing, it would be the exact same angle. Let that one go around your noodle for a minute. Yep. So if you bow your wrist here, and play with me, guys, like get a golf club in your hand, right? You're watching this, right? So, right? And then maybe somewhere later down the road, who knows, somebody else watches this video later. But if you bow your wrist like this and now try to release the golf club, like literally take your wrist bone here, your scaphoid is what it's called, but anyway, bow it up, okay? And now try to rehinge on the other side. You can't do it. So the only way to hit it once your wrist bone's up here is to now turn and to hold on for dear life, right? So I'm going through here. It's neutral right here. There's no pressure, pain here, and then it can rotate. I don't think after even all 400 videos, I don't think I've actually even discussed that. Sorry. You wouldn't think there'd be this much information about the golf swing to go through, right? And all it is a throwing motion, right? See? So once I do that little bit, then that little bit, then I wind my hand up, and then I throw, okay? And when I throw, if I only throw to a certain distance, okay, then you'll notice, see, my club face doesn't turn over because my right hand and arm is just making a little toss here. See, it's here, okay? It's extension here. So it matches my right forearm, see? So the left hand is responsible here for going ahead and finishing as the arm extends completely. Then the left hand can finishes in the circle. So it's not, the golf club doesn't turn over unless you make a fuller motion. You never ever want to try to roll your right hand over. When you roll your right hand over, the golf club is no longer on plane. See, the butt of the club goes sticking out there. And when you throw under correctly, it'll point at the target line. Can you guys see that pretty clearly? Let's see. I'm really digging the feel of the speed of centrifugal force. More narrow than my old extension. Let's see. Types of the three. Let me see. I can't quite read your. Let's see. More narrow than all my old extension deal. Yep. Yes. If you're overextending, then yeah. Yeah. No. This is for all. Yeah. This is all three. This is all three. Yep. Yep. So even if I, and I know Maverick, you weren't talking. I was talking about lead leg, but it was easier on my body. I've just noticed, me personally, as a 53-year-old guy, that when I wind up, and the same thing I talked about earlier, like with the GOAT code, from I can't chuck something, I can't remember his name, but anyway, the fascial slings and Mike Austin stuff is, this is really stretching this muscle this way and this way, right? Really stretching the fascial lines and all that stuff. And so what happened for me is that even when I'll make the fascial line up, I still push the ground, okay, while my hand is finishing, and I still have that separation, Sam Snead squat, etc., right? And then I have the stimulus, and then I have a throw. The problem with it is then I have a lot of my quadratus laborum, where my Latin oblique meet and all that stuff was kind of really getting tore up. So I can hit it just as far with less effort, maybe a fraction shorter, but who cares? And so it was just easier for me on a day-to-day basis just to put a little pressure on my lead leg and then make a little bump and then wind up and then throw. See, and there's just no strain or no struggle, because once I'm here, now this is like in a really happy place. Whereas when you load this leg here, you're loading this way more, and you're stretching way more. You're going to get more power, obviously, because you're stretching a hell of a lot of stuff. But you can't just get up here and then just turn through. You still have to have a stimulus, and you still have to have a throw. Does that make sense? Okay, yeah, there you go. Chunk Quentin. There you go. Yeah, which I have, and I got total respect for the guy, and I'm not discrediting him, whatsoever. That's just not a lead leg motion. That's a pure trail leg. You're trying to wind up this whole pelvis, goes out a little bit, like Mike Austin talks about. This whole part of this whole thing winds up, stretches, then it slings you down and it slings you through. And that's all great if you've got muscle fascia that can move. But man, little by little by little, I kept teaching this and doing this and doing this, and my left one especially, and then that starts pulling on the facet joint in the back, and that stretches the psoas. Oh, which, by the way, I found it very interesting. There was an interview with Roy McIlroy, some British dude, and just obscure dude. I don't even know. I watch more golf YouTube now just because I want to know what you guys are going to be asking me next and trying to figure it out. But anyway, he said what's something that you travel with that people wouldn't know, and he said a little psoas releasing tool. He says because his gets stretched and strained. Of course it does. He's swinging 125 to 130 miles an hour. So he is literally winding this up, squatting down, and pushing through. So it's, little, I don't care who you are, just wear and tear, right? I mean, if you got a car and your car only goes 65 or 70 miles an hour on the interstate at most, and you putter around at the grocery store and you go 35 or 40 miles an hour, you're not going to burn through as much oil, and you're not going to have much wear and tear on your car. So it's the same thing when you're an elite athlete and you're trying to swing super fast, you're trying to work on mobility, you're trying to work on strength. Man, your body is being stretched to the limit. Your fascial is being stretched to the limit. Your strength is being stretched to the limit. On my goal, once I hit, I think I hit 144 one time, and I really couldn't move for about a week, to be fair, like is where I was. And I had to go see my chiropractor a bunch and all that stuff. And then he reminded me of like my CrossFit days when, hey, you had a 600-pound deadlift, a 500-pound back squat, and you could hardly move. And I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. So anyway, getting back to that was when Tiger now he puts pressure into his lead leg a little bit more, and it makes it easier for him to throw. And it's just easier on the body, and you can still, hit it far enough to win. All right, that was detailed. Let's see. Seen an older Bryson video where he's in a bunker and trying to achieve a low point with a line, and he makes a divot out in front. Is this a good drill to work on for low point of the swing? Oh, absolutely. Now, the thing is, though, Bryson DeChambeau is a lead leg player. Now, here is newsflash, if you haven't been with me, okay, is go to any golf swing, any tour pro, because I don't have any bias. I swear to you, I don't. You could be a great trail leg player like a Bubba Watson and or Bryson DeChambeau. At the top of the golf swing, if the right leg is straight and the knee is over top of the foot, that is what I mean by lead leg. Okay, so by the time their golf club is here, that's lead leg. When you do this, that is middle. Say it's kind of the knee is kind of angled in a little bit more, that's going to be more middle. Okay, now it can go somewhat middle and then make a quick transition and be there by the time the golf club finishes. So you have to be careful, right, where you watch it. At the very, very top, I said. And then trail leg is where the knee is then now across the line, and now your pelvis has to go back further, and now at the top of the golf swing, all of your weight is over here. So that's the distinction. Now, to get back to your question on the piece of tape, he literally keeps the head on center. He pushes the ground left. Just, you don't believe me, just go back in slow motion and watch it. And then when he takes it back, he slings it back because his arms are all straight and structural, and he's super strong and fast, right? Like we talked about the NASCAR and the big car and the big engine. So when he gets to the top, his leg is pushed down like so. So his whole thing is he's not going to go back like this. He's literally going to push the leg down, which creates massive torque, and he's going to be with the shaft out in front, and he's going to hit out there in front. So it's going to be really kind of easy for him. And I'm fine with a lot of that feel. Me, I just think about, in kinesiology, for instance, I just think about what moves the golf club. My golf club is moved by my hand, which goes over my shoulder, because that's the only way to get the golf club fully over and swing in a symmetrical circle, and then the arm to the target. And if you do that correctly and your head stays on center, your brain, now watch, I'm going to show you. Here's a wind up throw and my head on center, and you can see that I'm over here. See where my knee is? Now I'm going to consciously make sure that my weight stays a little left and push the ground a little bit and wind up and throw, and now that's lead leg. And now I'm going to wind up and throw, and I'm going to be in a trail leg. Okay? These all have different release patterns that you do, but it's still a throw. Ooh, that's a lot, isn't it? Okay, so but that tape, that's fine. If you feel like that you're releasing early, then that is hand on the downswing instead of, and just play with me. Grab a golf club if you're right-handed. Just wind your hand, not your arm, not your arm, not your forearm, but just your hand right up over your shoulder. And if you need to really get it easier, just put it on your shoulder like this. Then extend it and kind of push it there and say, okay, if I had a ball in my hand, would I throw? Now, would I wind my hand up, or would I just move my arm? Arm, and look what the golf club does. Okay? So then you'd hit the ball and then and not the tape. Alrighty. Next, good questions, by the way. In a lead leg swing, can you cover the pressure shift back into the lead leg in the backswing? And then does the pressure shift get pushed back off the lead leg foot in the downswing before impact? Yes, so it can. Great question. So first of all, in the lead leg, you are literally pushing the ground just that little bitty bump. So it's not like a big, so if you did a box jump, you would just have a little boom, boom, right? So you just want to feel like you're just practicing pushing. You're not literally sinking into it, because then now you'd have to restart, okay? So once you do that, that pushes you back right. See, I'm not even thinking about going right. It automatically does it, okay? So once I angle my knee in a little bit on a lead leg motion, right? Definitely wouldn't do it on a trail leg or middle. But once this knee is angled in a little bit, then what happens is the right leg then pushes back left. So you have two shifts, 1, 2, as the golf club is moving away. And at the top of the swing, the knee is over top of the foot. And the foot will push naturally. The ground doesn't wait for you and say, okay, now push off the ground harder, okay? You can if you want to, but really, and I promise you, no matter what any golf pro says, and they feel that they're pushing harder, but that's because their arm is swinging faster. So if I got up here and I push the ground left, right, then the golf club is at the top of the golf swing, and I'm throwing and I'm feeling my whole arm go to the target as fast as possible, and I'm going to feel like I'm throwing up, then the ground's going to push me quickly. And if I go so hard and so fast, what's going to happen? It could push away like a long drive guy, okay? And if you're not that fast, then it's just going to, see? Also, it dictates where your arm is thrown. If I'm a driver here and I'm throwing my arm under and up, I'm going to have more pressure on my right foot at impact. If I'm throwing my arm down, I'm going to have more pressure over on my left foot. I'm going to have more shaft lean a little bit, and the golf club's going to extend a little further out. So just like if you're tossing a ball, if I was tossing a ball to you with the camera and my arm goes up, my weight's going to go this way. If my arm goes this way, down low, it's going to go more forward. If I do this middle, it'd be in the middle. See? So it's not, again, I'm not really trying to overcomplicate this. See? Can you see the difference in the pressures? Low, high. See, I got one more pressure here. So if I throw really hard and I got more pressure here, and I do it really hard, that ground's going to push me, and that leg can go. Did that answer that completely, I hope? Let's see. Feel like my body gets too far ahead of the ball at impact. Yes, Steve, and here's the reason is because everybody and their mother has been told to turn the body through, okay? So, and this, if you're doing more like, and I don't want to do it because my spine doesn't like it. Remember, we just had this conversation about me being 53. But if you skip a rock and you go low, then your body will have to open a little bit. And because you went low, your arm then has to be more bent. So the lower that you go, the more your body has to open to when you throw. I hate that. That already doesn't feel good on my body. Me just doing that without any weight. Okay. So if I just stay level and throw my arm, where am I going to be? Up here. Well, this is easy on my spine. And for older peeps, and we're not super flexible, and we ain't got to get down here like this. See, now you don't have to be open. So the more this stays bent, the more open and low you got to go. That's why Joaquin Newman does so great. But shit, I'm not him. I'm not a wiry little 160-pound little fucking kid, right? And believe it or not, and he's a kid, right? Like, think about it. If he comes in contact with a 220 or 30-pound individual, he's going to get squished like a little bug, okay? But because he's so flexible, he can get down here like this, you know, then he can have elite ball speed, right? All right, let's see. Bryson discussion may have answered it. Oh, good. Hey, Craig, man, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Give me a little ching ching. I appreciate that. Let's see. Is keeping my head behind the ball a good swing thought to help my upper and lower body separate? Not necessarily. See, I can keep my head behind the ball like so, and I can drive my right leg and my head still behind the ball, but that doesn't look very separating with my lower body, right? And then I can put my head behind the ball and I could twist my knee this way, or I could put my head behind the ball and kick my leg out. And I could then separate this way, but none of that looks right, does it? No. See, so I understand where your brain is going with this, but what you're thinking of is the lower body moves the golf club. Okay, so play with me. I got no problem. Listen, I got no problems. Okay, I stand firmly on physics and kinesiology. So I don't. There's really not anybody's going to say anything that goes, oh, okay, well, I've never heard of that before. That doesn't exist. It just doesn't. Here's why. So, and how simple is this, by the way? So if I put a golf club over your shoulder, okay, do this with me. Put it out here. So there's your hand. Your hand is what moves the golf club over the shoulder. Now, I want you to turn the body and separate the leg. I do not want you to move this golf club by the arm or the forearm. I want you to move it strictly by the body. It ain't moving. Hang on. Ready? Nope, doesn't move. Okay? So it's not the hand, not the forearm. 100% the arm to the navicular bone. See this? Here. One continuous motion to the target. Look at my arm. My hand is still responding now to my forearm. My arm is now continuing to the target. My forearm is responding to the arm. My hand is responding to the forearm, and there's the extension. So if I throw my arm right here under to the target, what does my lower body do? It has to respond. See? So when we talk about ground pressure, my weight is left, my knee is over my foot. Yeah, this is happening, right? The ground's pushing me, but if I don't swing my arm, it doesn't matter. See? So quit trying to turn the body and open it. Quit trying to think that the legs drive the golf club. Quit trying to think that bumping the hip drives the golf club. It's 100% the arm. And the leg just responds. Man, hey, thank you for that. I appreciate that. I try to, and even sometimes when I get into body parts, I know it is such a slip. It doesn't help you to say, okay, I want your right shoulder blade to protract and your scapula to go back and your teres minor to engage. And, but that's what happens when your hand goes over your shoulder. Okay. So if I put my hand over my shoulder, all that happens, right? And so it's so easy as a teacher to get caught up on making myself feel smarter than I should or whatever. But, if I say, hey, pull your shoulder blade back, that might help someone that had a feeling of moving their head and their body over here, and all of a sudden they get the golf club over their shoulder. They're thinking about their right shoulder, but really it's the hand that's going over the shoulder. right? It's the same thing for somebody who, you know, when I work with people, and I took the golf club up for a reason. So if I said, okay, take the little bucket of water, how does that relate? Well, when I'm taking the golf club back, my hands and my chest and my body are moving to the side. Now, here's the golf club right here in the bucket. Now, how can I get my hand? I'm not doing this with my hands, but my hands are keeping that same width, but they still have to wind up over the shoulder. See, so you have different feels. That's really it, just different feels, right? But in easy terms, the hand is what takes the club back and the arm takes it to the target, and the legs respond in different kinds of ways. Okay. And thank you for the compliment. Hey, Gary. All right, the quarter roll on the toe line. Is it all done with no, it's not done with the forearm. No, it's not done with the forearm. Okay, so let me explain what Maverick is asking. So every single time I get my golf club, before I hit a shot, I'll make a little quarter roll of the golf club. See, my arm's not moving, and my hand is now moving and putting the club on the toe line. Okay, now this is what it looks like if I rotate, because I have to stop this. Okay, so I'm not moving my hand now. I'm going to move my forearm. See, if I move my forearm, the golf club can just kind of flop. See, it's the hand that sets the angle of the forearm like so. It is not the forearms rotating, because that's what that looks like. Okay, so I'll do it like this so you guys can see it. So this is hand. Okay, now the forearm is responding. But if I left my hands alone and just rolled my forearms, I would have a golf club that would not be correct. Okay? So there's no ad-libbing here. It's hands, not forearm. What kind of golf? Oh, okay. These? Yeah, these are nothing. These are just, I get them off of Amazon. These are little squishy foam balls, right? Because, and this is a, you know, I've got a little padding, and I could actually hit full golf shots in here. You know, but the thing is that when I teach people, when they come here, I'm reprogramming their golf swing. And so got mirrors and all the other kind of stuff. So when you come to Nashville and you want to work with me in my condo, there's a reprogramming that happens. But I take most people to the Secret Swing now that's in Gallatin. It's a TrackMan. You know, it's a single bay. You book advance time with me. I work with you for 2 or 3 hours. You know, you fly in to come see me. It's one little private room. It's really nice. So you don't need to. If you want to come here, you can. This is when I do stuff here. I also have fitness stuff that I do, and I'll show stretches, and we'll work with the Rotex motion, which I highly recommend from Dr. Joe Lacaze. I'll work with human animal movement, because you're only as old as your spine, stuff like that. So, but just Amazon foam balls. It's really, there's nothing crazy about it. Yeah, so it's a right arm throw. Actually, it's both arms. Okay. Now, hear me out on this. When the left hand's on it, you're going to feel that this whole right arm here in the navicular bone, but it's this same thing. It's equal on both. So make sure I kind of hit my microphone, see if you guys can hear me. Okay. So both arms to the target, but your brain won't really feel the left arm, because the left hand does this, you know, spinning backhand motion, and the right hand's an underhand throw. The left hand and arm is a backhand. That is the speed producer, and this is the governor, right? So I'm always thinking about the right arm and the faster that I can move the right arm, but it is technically both arms. Thank you, guys. This is fun. So to me, this is just easier on the body, and it's just been so wrong. I mean, I feel like that there is, just as a career can be made by talking about the hand path being correctly and the arm being out here, to where now it's not tucked in, it's not here. You know, I didn't turn the body, I didn't drive the leg out lateral, sideways, something like that. You know, I just kind of kept it in. I had that little bounce, and then once I'm right here, my hand is wound up, and now it's just my arm throwing to the target, and it's just how my body is now responding. Okay. Now, I will say something's kind of interesting. because I have to say this, because and I go back to even Manuel de la Torre, who said you got to mean what you say. And so I'm working with my tour player, and he is not extending the arm, because his feeling of throw is this. Okay, that's his feeling of throw. So he never really extended the arm. So once we got it where it's like, oh, hey, listen, I'm going to wind my hand up, and now I'm going to extend my arm out to the target like in a throwing motion, all of a sudden, boom, just like that, picked it up, got it pretty quick, see? So, hey, Mario. Yeah, okay, great question, Craig. So the right hand and the left hand, so to me, they are equal, okay? If you put a ball in your hand and you're going to throw it in with extension, okay, then you wouldn't squeeze it, okay? So when I do this with my left hand, I want to make this as simple as this answer gets. When I get my left hand grip correct and I make the little hand motion, not my arm, so I'm holding my arm, okay, and I just do this, then this that's my grip pressure. That's how I feel it. Now, if I squeeze this tight and try to do it, now it doesn't move. Now, I know, again, common sense, right? If I grip my club very, very lightly and then try to do it, it's going to have to go slow, otherwise I lose the fingers. So it has to be a certain pressure to it to do this motion. That's what the function of the hand does. So there's my grip pressure. Can't really tell you what that is. If I told you what is my grip pressure, mean it might feel like it's a 3 or a 4. To you, that could feel like it's a 6 or a 7. I don't know. Anyway, so then I put my right hand on it right after I've done that, and then I make the same thing. And is my wrist impeded? No. Is my hand and arm impeded? No. Do I feel tension in my forearm and my arms or anywhere else? No. Well, there you go. There's my grip pressure. So, and do I feel one tighter than the other? No. I feel as long as they can make that little semicircle there, then I can throw, and that's it. So kind of that's more or less that's the answer, is I don't have a certain pertinent number because everybody's different. I'm just getting you, can you make the correct motion with your wrist bone? And if you can, then the grip's right. Let's see. This Ogie, the world's fastest golfer. What golf balls are you? I'm sorry, I couldn't understand that question. Yep. So I'm using, well, first of all, I'm on Strixon staff for a little bit longer, and I've got a bunch of Strixon Z-Star golf balls. So they've been wonderful to me. Strixon's been wonderful to me, even though the company probably doesn't even know me, but the tour rep did. So let's see. Can I please? Yes. So, hey, Todd. So awesome. So can you show how the pelvis going behind and to keep it from going to the left? Yes. So one is the feeling that when you have a pressure, put a little more pressure on this left knee over top of this foot to practice. And this is what we're going to work on. Okay. And as you're winding your hand up at the top of the swing, I want your knee to be over top of your foot and your leg straight. If you have a tendency, now I know Todd, okay? So if you have a tendency to turn your pelvis behind you. Now, okay, you're doing this is almost like a live look-in little mini lesson, okay? Because we've done a couple of Zooms and we've worked on this. So watch this. So you can put a golf club here. And so he was bumping the hip, okay, which is fine. That's the compound pivot, right? Trail leg. But then he would turn, and you can see how the pelvis goes way behind you. So where would his arm be, folks? It'd be over here behind him, and the club face would be shut. So this now means that he can't be a trail leg player for at least a long time, because his tendency is to twist. So his cancer, okay? Todd, it's good, though, that you know this. No matter what anybody's ever told you or ever worked with you or anything of that nature, this twisting motion is going to be your cancer that you're going to have to fight, okay? So I have to look at it one of two ways. Is the lead leg motion, where because we've done this step before, but when you've done a step, you still twist. See? So is the right leg straightened and is the knee over the foot? Well, it's not pressured here. So this hand has to be inside the seam line. Okay. So as he is taking it back, he's got to feel this knee being over the foot and this leg straight, and then that'll put the hand over the shoulder. See, clearly totally different than going out and then twisting. So you're going to practice a bit getting the pressure and keeping the pressure just on your left knee and foot and swinging back. So when you swing back here and then twist, you should be able, I just did it. If you do it wrong, you fall over. Okay? So you're going to learn what it feels like to be at the top of the golf swing, loaded here, and then have the left leg push you away naturally while the arm is throwing under. And that's what I really wanted to get with you on, because I feel like even if we do bent leg, trail leg, that what's going to happen, and what do you think will happen, folks, is he's going to go here and then he's going to twist, right? Because if I twist like this, I can still hold my balance. But if I go ahead and preset my knee over top of my foot like that, and this right leg is going to be bent a little bit, because from here, as that pressure gets to the top, that knee is going to be over the foot. Can he get his knee over the top of his foot and twist his pelvis without increasing knee flex? No, you can't. So that's how he's going to fix this motion, is basically being like this at the top of his golf swing, because now his hands are going to be here. If you put your hands way behind you like this, you're going to fall over. Okay? That's pretty cool, huh? All right. You were just reading Harvey Penick book, and yes, and he describes magic move as to start the downswing, let your weight shift to the left. Yeah, that's correct. While bringing your right elbow back down to your body. Yes, so that's because that is a bent leg, trail leg swing. So when you do this here, your head's going to move off the ball. So it's not a circle, okay? So now I have to get my head back to center. Well, how am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to have to push my left foot down. Now, technically, by the way, he's incorrect, okay? But the thought process is there. If I just push my left foot down, my weight doesn't actually push back to my left leg. My right leg is what pushes the left leg down. But it's fine to have that feeling that you're pushing your left foot, because when you do, your right leg will sink into, and you'll have kind of what that Sam Snead squat is. Now, from here, can I just throw my arm? No, I have to recenter. See? So once you recenter, now your elbow is in here naturally. So now my body is very, very, can I throw from here? No, I can't throw. So in a bucket motion, you have to now have the chest and the arms and the body go through to the left. And I've talked extensively about bent leg, trail leg release, and that's like throwing a medicine ball or a bucket of water, and it's a totally different release than just throwing your arm. Okay? And I've played well with it, and all of that does not matter if that's your feel, because there are people that roll their hands and cannot, for the life of them, put this golf club on plane. Okay, I just worked with a guy in Orlando. Posture bad, bent over, got him to get more level. He's taking the bucket to the side. Because for him, handsy, he's done this his whole life. So if you've rolled your hands your whole life, then me telling you to swing your hands over your shoulder, I'm the dumbest teacher on the planet. That's the reason why I can't teach everybody the same thing. So Mario, if the Harvey Penick thing works for you, which is also the 8-step swing, I could probably go into countless other teachers. Jimmy Ballard, same kind of deal, right? With recentering, then do it. Tiger Woods, 2000, won 4 majors. Made the same motion. Pretty good. Can he do it now? Not a snowball's chance in hell. Why? Because he messed up his right leg and his right ankle, and he can't push off of it. So he has to set his ankle and his knee joint in to where now the pressure is automatically left for him to throw. Is this too much? My girl tells me I got way too much crap rolling around in my head. Oh, it's not. It's consistent with that movement pattern, not consistent with throwing. So a lead leg throw is when I'm putting pressure left, and then right. And at the top of my golf swing, I'm on my left leg or lead leg, and then from here the ground's pushing me while I'm throwing. That's totally different, guys, than now the bucket motion and recentering and going through. Don't ask me how I can do all that. I've just done it for a long time. Okay. The balls in your tray, yeah, they're just practice balls. Yes, they're just practice balls. They're just like literally practice balls from Amazon. It just, because if you can hit those solid, then a real golf ball is fine, right? So, and like I said, when I give golf lessons now, when people come see me, I do the secret swing. It doesn't matter, okay, over in Gallatin. So if some people come here for fitness and also then, reprogramming their golf swing, and they spend the whole weekend with me or something, then, we use the condo and reprogram hitting plastic foam balls. Same thing Quan did back in the day. Okay. Hey, man, you're welcome, Craig. I appreciate you guys. I know it's like 13 more minutes or so, and then it's going to be football time. So my girl's already like, hey, man, where are you? All right. Is the left shoulder popping up out of the strike because the right arm throw is too late, or just pushing hard instead of responding? I don't think about my left shoulder like at all. So if you think of, but because you asked the question, okay, so if I'm here, lead leg, and I'm at the top of my golf swing, okay, we all discussed that before, knees here, leg straight. So then when I throw my arm, and I throw my arm up and under and back, like throwing it up in the air, then I'll have more pressure on my right foot. Now that makes my shoulder respond back. Now, if I'm throwing it like an iron and I'm going to throw it lower, now my shoulder's more out in front. If I'm throwing it mid, now my shoulder's more a little bit higher. So the more pressure on your right foot, the more that this shoulder will go up. The more pressure left, the more the shoulder goes down. Again, I don't think about that at all. I don't think about my shoulder ever, like ever, because this is a secondary mover. It just moves with the spine. So, and the spine moves because the hand winds up over the shoulder and the arm to the target. Now, see, did my shoulder move? Yes. Now, if I try to get my shoulder to move, that golf club doesn't move. It's responding to the arm. So how's that, guys? Is that pretty good? All right, I'll take one more or two more. How about two more questions? Because I'm sure Maverick's going to ask me one. I push on the left leg foot and the shoulder likes to jump up and I almost whiff it, kind of thing. Yeah, stop doing that. Okay? I'm not here at the leg and then that doesn't, people talk about that I push and you snap and, you get extra, and that's how the leg moves and all that. It's still, again, it's just responding. So if my left leg so if I push the ground here, that's going to push the ground here. Now my weight went to my left. Now the leg's pushing me, right? So that's how the legs are moving, right? But my golf club still hasn't moved. See that? So my hand winding up now my arm going to the target, now it's pushing me and my arm is extending. If I go here and I push really hard, harder than my arm goes, I'll whiff the golf ball. So the determining factor is, ladies and gentlemen, the arm to the target. Let's see. If my hands are too far behind its setup, will that cause the club face to close at impact? Nah, that's too gray of an area, okay? Too many variables to have that question. So the reason is because if your hands are too far behind, okay, and your grip is incorrect, now your face could be open, if it could be closed, it doesn't matter. Now, if you, all things being equal, if you have a correct grip, okay, and you put it behind, then yes, the club face will be closed. So here's how you do it. Put it on your shoulder. Close your eyes. Drop the club down in front of you. Look at it. Club's going to be in the middle of the body. Why is the golf club in the middle of the body on every single shot? What? Yes, every single shot. Because if I drop my right foot back here and here, I'm still where? Middle of my body. Okay? Even with a driver. because that's the only place that you can make a circle. See, left-handed circle, right-handed circle. If I lean the shaft backwards, it no longer will be a circle. Lean the shaft forward, it'll no longer be a circle. Move the ball position forward or back, it's no longer going to be a circle. Shoulders open or closed, no longer going to be a circle. Okay, so the golf club has to be in the middle of the body, whoop, on every shot. This is a specialty shot. Okay, and that's how the golf club can go back in a circular path, and the arm can go to the target. And if I did that, there's a left-handed swing. So you can see how they're symmetrical. You start leaning the shaft forward, you start leaning the shaft back, you're going to be in problems. So don't do that. Just like don't jump. You're kind of like keeping my body straight and my hands are moving through. Yeah, so my arms are just, so my body just responds. See? So if I throw my arm down low, my body is going to respond that way. And if I throw it up high, it's going to respond that way. If I throw it out to the right, that's going to be a draw or a hook. If I throw it to the left, it's going to be a cut. So I'm never really thinking about any of the stuff here. So all I do is when I'm going to throw a ball, you wouldn't just move your hand back, right? You can if you're just going to throw just a little bit, right? But I'm responding. So as soon as I push the ground, my hand is then winding up, and that's what is allowing me that stretch reflex. And then I'm just, my arm from here is saying, where do I, so if you were on the driving range with me and I get to the top and you said low straight, I'd go, boom. If you said high draw, I'd go, boom, right? If you said, and I'm just doing it with my right hand. It doesn't matter. I can do it with my left too. But if you said low cut, then boom, right? Then my arm's going like that. So my body's just responding to what I want to do with the shot once I'm up here. See? Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's good. That's good. All right, guys. Leave comments. Like, subscribe, and share. Makes a huge difference in my life going forward and giving back to you guys. You know, golf trips, videos, all the stuff that I do. KingGolfLab.com, Zoom, golf lessons, the membership site. You can do that on YouTube as well because I'm offering it's a really good deal where you do the 8 videos that you send me per, 2 per week. And then also you get a 30-minute little Zoom with me. So I couldn't give you a better deal. But I'm here for you. So, all right. So God bless and everybody enjoy the football. Thanks, guys.